This is a journey to rediscover the splendor of one of the world's most ancient civilizations. Rediscovering China.
Hi, I'm Melina Wang and welcome to Rediscovering China, your window to 5,000 years of traditional Chinese culture. We have an exciting show lined up for you this week. We'll be taking a look back at NTD's 2011 Chinese Culinary Competition held on Times Square in New York. Ben Hedges will be in the studio with last year's culinary competition winner, Robin Luo. And Margaret Trey talks to dancers from Shen Yun Performing Arts about their experiences competing in NTD's classical Chinese dance competition. This year, New Tang Dynasty Television will be holding its 5th International Chinese Culinary Competition. The preliminary rounds for the Asia-Pacific region will be kicking off in Taipei, Taiwan in less than 10 days' time, and the North American rounds and finals will be held on Times Square in New York in September. But first, let's take a look back at some of the excitement from last year's competition.
September 22nd, and NTD's 4th International Chinese Culinary Competition is kicking off in New York.
For 2 days only, New York City's Times Square has been turned into the kitchen arena of Chang'an, the capital of China's Tang Dynasty.
Pagodas line the streets in anticipation of culinary magic.
Top chefs from around the world will be competing in one of 5 traditional Chinese cuisines of Sichuan, Shandong, Cantonese, Huaiyang, and northeastern cuisines.
NTD's President Li Zhong sounds the gong for the first round of today's competition to start. As the chefs fire up their woks, we talk to spectators about what they think of Chinese cuisine.
Okay, so I'm here with Jim and Maureen from Philadelphia. They're just visiting New York. Jim, what do you think of Chinese food?
Love it. Who doesn't?
And what's your favorite dish?
Oh boy, that's anything with black bean sauce.
and you, Maureen?
I usually like the chickens, cashew chickens and stuff.
And were you surprised to find a Chinese cooking competition right here in the heart of New York Times Square?
Yes, I was actually. We saw it from our hotel window.
Some of the world's top Chinese chefs are slaving over hot stoves competing for that grand prize. It's time to see what's cooking.
In the first round of today's competition, chefs have to prepare 2 dishes in the northeastern style. They're given just 45 minutes. Matthew Babbage, the competition's only ethnically Western contestant and experienced Sichuan-style chef, says speed is important.
I will be happy if I complete both dishes in 45 minutes. Winning is not what's important. Being part of this and learning about the tradition and the culture through food is what's important to me.
And it's tradition that NTD's competition is seeking to revive.
Today, much of Chinese cuisine has been altered. It has been westernized. We need to persist in protecting traditional Chinese culture and preserving the original flavor.
Once cooked, dishes are taken off to a panel of expert judges who judge the food on its most fundamental quality, the flavor. Fancy presentation isn't part of traditional Chinese cooking, and chefs may even lose points for wasting time on presentation. Despite the differences in style, Western spectators are still impressed.
I think it's an art. It's an art where the way they prepare it, and also it's an art to enjoy it.
After the preliminaries, the winning chefs will go through to Friday's final, where they will compete for the gold prize of $10,000. Ben Hedges, NTD News, New York.
Well, Ben Hedges has been in the studio talking to Robin Luo, the joint Gold Award winner from last year's competition, finding out a little more about Chinese cuisine.
Well, I'm here in the studio with Robin Luo. He is the Gold Award winner from NTD's culinary competition, Chinese culinary competition in Times Square last year. Thank you very much for being here with us today, Robin. 你是第1名，你得奖的时候，那一时刻有什么感觉？
那个是应该是长这么大最高兴的时候了，因为面对这么多人，跟这么多高手能一起切磋，我觉得是很美好的事情。
Now, NTD's competition is a traditional Chinese culinary competition. China has many different types of food, but a lot of Westerners may not be so familiar with a lot of these types of food. 罗先生，您是否可以介绍一下中国最主要的几类菜系？
在中国最主要的有5种菜系，一种是川菜、鲁菜、淮扬菜、东北菜，还有粤菜。
这些都不同。
不同
所以东北菜跟南方的菜有什么不同？
东北菜它是以炖菜为主，它那边的最早的时候是打猎比较多，就是肉类比较多，所以它炖的菜特别好。粤菜呢，就是以姜鲜啊、湖鲜啊、河鲜啊比较多。
川菜呢？那川菜怎么样？
川菜就是比较野味啊，它比较辣的比较好，那个汤也不错，就麻辣烫的汤，辣椒不错。
我很喜欢吃那个川菜的那个麻辣火锅。有什么其他的其他的盘菜？四川菜，典型的。
比较典型的，就是那个辣子鸡，我比较喜欢吃。但是在具体我不是说太了解就是我就做几十年都是做粤菜。
你是做粤菜的，所以粤菜有什么特色？有什么特殊的食材？
因为广东呢，就是地域比较食材比较丰富就是那个它也受香港的影响，所以粤菜的选料是非常广泛，而且它新鲜的东西很多，它很少要说吃一些冰冻的东西，就是陈旧的东西，它全部都是新鲜的，因为它地域有活的东西就没有人吃死的东西了，就是这样。它以清淡为主，所以呢，就是清淡的，它会联想到它一定会对身体的养生很大帮助。好，比较清淡。
谢谢您。Thanks very much for joining us today, Robin.
And you can catch part 2 of that interview on our show next week. Newtang Dynasty Television is a proud media sponsor of Shen Yun Performing Arts, the world's premier classical Chinese dance company. Shen Yun dancers have been amongst the winners of NTD's Classical Chinese Dance Competition. Margaret Trey has been talking to some dancers from Shen Yun about their experience in the competitions and the characteristics of classical Chinese dance.
As NTD Television is gearing up for its 5th International Classical Chinese Dance Competition, winners of previous year's competitions share their experiences. Many of the winners are members of Shen Yun Performing Arts, a classical Chinese dance and music company based in New York. Shen Yun lead dancer Faustina Quach talks about the rigorous training required to excel in classical Chinese dance.
We have to stretch like legs, back, stuff like that. There's also flipping, postures, poses, movements. So there are like 3 parts, like the stretching, the flipping, you know, the basic like foundation stuff on bar, and then the movements.
She speaks of the inner state of the dancer.
When we like learn the classical movements and stuff, it's not just about doing the movements, it's about like the inner feeling that comes out while you're doing the movements. And that's the hardest part about that. Like you're not just, you know, moving your 4 limbs. You have to dance with your heart. And that's what moves the audience.
The US-born classical Chinese dancer won the Silver Award in the junior division in 2010, despite spraining her ankle a week before the competition. Quach speaks about how she felt during the competition.
When the actual competition came, like when you're on stage, like it's, you know, like it's so much easier when you don't think about yourself, like, you know, like physical pains, like, or if you're nervous, if you're scared, like all you think about is like, you know, sending out, you know, that message, or connecting with the audience, you know, like, and also like getting into your, like the character you're dancing.
Quach says the atmosphere was very supportive.
NTD TV's like dance competition, the sole purpose is to like let the audience know like the beauty of Chinese culture, the beauty and essence of Chinese classical dance. And that's what we're all here for. So, like, you know, everybody backstage, we're all like, you know, yeah, do the best you can.
Shen Yun principal dancer Alison Chen says she is ready to take up the challenge this year.
But I think this time I want to go try a new style, and I've actually never danced a really girly dance by myself before, so I think it's gonna be a new challenge, but I think it's gonna be kind of fun. Yeah.
Shen Yun principal male dancer Tim Wu talks about the role of NTD's dance competition.
NTD's classical dance competition is purely Chinese classical dance, and those are the requirements. And I think it's really bringing, you know, a renaissance of Chinese culture to the whole world.
Wu won the bronze medal in the men's division of NTD's first dance competition. He then took the gold medal in 2008 and 2010 and says he hasn't decided to join this year's competition. The first rounds of the 2012 dance competition for the Asia-Pacific region will be held in Hong Kong in August, while the North American preliminaries, finals and award ceremony will be held in New York in late October. NTD News, New York.
That's all for this week, but you can catch this show and more on our website, ntd.tv. And don't forget, NTD's content on YouTube is made possible by viewers like you, so please support us by subscribing to our channel. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.